Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. Thank y'all for being here. I see a few of y'all in the comments. Hey, Timeless Tea, what's happening? You're the first one. Thank you for being here. So I guess I'll wait for a few more comments to start coming in, but we're going to be talking about witchy paranormal story time, and we're going to have a little mini Etsy haul, sort of like a little mini witchy Etsy haul for you guys. So yeah, good evening. It is evening where I am. So I guess I can start off with a little mini haul until a few of y'all arrive, and then we can go into the story time. Okay. So I've been ordering a lot of witchy, cute stuff off of Etsy lately, and I would like to promote small business. So this is why we're doing the little mini Etsy haul first before we start the story time. Welcome everyone. I see y'all. Sprinkle, sprinkle, everybody. Okay, so y'all hit the like button. If y'all are new, subscribe. If y'all like finding new, interesting shops on Etsy that have cute things, check the description bar, and I have all the stores and links to the stores listed to where I got some of these things from. So the first thing that I purchased on Etsy were a bunch of candles. And the store that these candles actually are coming from is called Anita Apothecary. Anita Apothecary. Anita Apothecary. And it's on Etsy. It's in the description bar. So she makes these Victorian style beautiful candles. And I've already burnt, some of this one. If you saw the last video, I opened this one. It has a wax seal on it. I think Vic L says her products are great. Okay, so you've tried them before? Yes. This is my first time purchasing from Anita Apothecary. So here's another one. This is sealed with the wax, the black wax seal. And you open it from here, it's like a little groove to open it from. This one is called the Spiritualist. Because back in the Victorian era, people used to do a lot of seances in their home. Seances and mediums were very popular in the Victorian era, and it was a form of entertainment and all that kind of stuff. So there's a candle called the Spiritualist. And these are kind of hard to open with these nails. I have to get my scissors, but here's one of the candles. But this is how they look on the inside. They usually come with like a little decoration on the top, some glitter, and a little floral. So really pretty. Thanks y'all for being here. We're going to get into the witchy paranormal story time in a second. I only have like 3 things to haul. Okay, then the next one we have is Scream Queen. And I think this one is a Halloween scented candle because the orange color, and I think I remember it being like Halloween scented pumpkin and things like that. So I'm saving this one for fall. And this one you can use also around Halloween or in the fall. It's probably really a nice patchouli, jasmine, like just a really dark witchy smells. And then this last one, I love how she wrapped them too, like presentation. Okay, this last one is called Haunted, or The Haunted. So, The Haunted. When I open these, I'll tell you how they smell on another video. But I don't want to break my nails right now because they're wax sealed. But I had opened one. This one was called Folklore, and it smells really good. So I burn this one a lot. And I love the amber colored glass. I can also reuse these. Okay, the next thing I bought, okay, let me get these together, was from another store called the Little Book Eater. I know, I love that name, don't y'all? Little Book Eater. So Little Book Eater sells like oils, soaps, like things that refer to historical characters or books or characters in books. So she creates oils and different products that are based on book themes, book characters, historical characters, things like that, people that you read about. She's on Etsy, The Little Book Eater. And the first one that I bought was called Marie Laveau. And this is a fragrance oil, and it smells really good. It has bergamot, sandalwood, amber, clove, tobacco leaf, and leather. So this really smells good. I wear this every day. It smells really good. It's like a really nice everyday fragrance, in my opinion. And it's not very heavy, but it's not super light either. It literally smells like a nice perfume. And it's based on Marie Laveau. Yes. Okay. So it smells really good. And then I bought a sample pack. Instead of buying full-size oils, you can also buy a sample pack and pick the smells or the scents that you want to experience, and then go back and buy a big one if you like it. So I got a sample pack, and one of them I got in Southern Gothic. So this is like a Southern Gothic novel type scent, you know, where you would be swept off to if you were reading a Southern Gothic novel. It smells really nice. I don't think it gives you the notes on this little package, like label, but it smells fresh, but also a little bit like leather, and there's like little hints of like orange in there, but it smells good. Like all these smell pretty good. It's not very masculine. Okay. And then we have the New Orleans Vampire oil. I guess it's supposed to be based on Interview with the Vampire. And this one smells like candy, spice, smoke, like you're on Bourbon Street, with a little sweetness to it. It smells like Bourbon Street, like, you know, somebody smoking a cigar, smoke coming out of a club, some night air, and a touch of like spiciness or cinnamon. And then there's like a light floral. So that's interesting. And then we have one called Occult Shop. And this one probably just smells like a witchy shop and a cult shop. It smells like incense, patchouli, jasmine. So it smells like what it smells like when you walk into an occult shop. It smells like incense, patchouli, and this smells like a witch. It's what you would wear if you wanted people to know you was a witch, okay? All right. So they have these in the full size, but I wanted to see how all of them smelled before I bought another full size. I did get the full size of the Marie Laveau, and this is at the Little Book Eater on Etsy. So y'all go check her store out. And you can tell her I sent you, or whatever you want. It smells good. All right. The last store that I got things from, actually I have another order on the way, but it has not arrived yet. So we're going to put them in another video. The next store that I got from is called Body Mind You. They make candles, soaps, all those kind of things. And I have been wanting another lotion candle, like a pour candle. You light it and you can pour it and like massage it into your skin. So I purchased two. One is in the scent Vanilla Bean, and the other one is in lavender. And so what you do is you light the candle, let it burn for a few minutes until it gets melted. And then you can either blow the wick out or leave it lit if you want it to keep melting. And then you pour it on your skin and massage it in. It's made with like shea butter, oils, and like soy wax. And I'm going to light it and let it burn for a while. You see how it's already melting? Well, you would pour that onto your skin. And it smells so good. And I like to use these before bedtime and do my moisturizing and then go to sleep. So if you can get one in a nice scent like lavender, it will like make you feel all cozy and relaxed. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Okay. So that's the Etsy haul. Y'all go support small business. Sprinkle, sprinkle. All the links are in the description bar to the stores that I mentioned. Okay. Now that all of y'all are here, let's get into the witchy paranormal that I spelled wrong. I'm going to fix the spelling. Don't worry. In fact, I should go fix it right now. Anyway. Let me fix it before y'all start correcting me in the comments, because I didn't realize with these nails and I start typing, it's like I just get ahead of myself sometimes. So y'all bear with me. Sorry, y'all. All right, let me fix the spelling. I missed the whole letter. Okay. 2 letters. Dang. I was in a hurry. Okay. Sorry, y'all. All right, I fixed it. Anyway, so I have a lot of different story times, but I'll tell the most recent one that happened last night. Ooh, okay. So I'm up in my office, which is more like a witchy room, where I keep all my candles, things that I use for spell work, crystals, cauldrons, all the things that one would have in a witchy room. And we were doing spell work up there, me and my daughter. And I decided I wanted some music. So I have an old record player up there with some old albums, like original albums of people that are no longer with us. So most of the people on the records or the albums are deceased, right? So I go to play one of my albums and I turn it on. It starts playing fine. And then I turn around to look at my altar, my spell work, and all of a sudden it just stops. Like, it's a record player. So it's spinning and all of a sudden it just stops. And then I look at my daughter and I said, "Did you turn that off? You could have told me if you just didn't like the music." And she's like, "No, I didn't touch it." And so I thought I might have knocked, the little needle off of the record, but it was still on there. It just stopped spinning. And then I checked to see if it was still on. It was still on, but it just literally just stopped spinning. And I checked the plug. The plug was plugged in. The plug was working fine because I had a little night light above it, and I checked to see if the plug was working, and it was working fine. And then I turned it on and then turned it off and then turned it on and then shook it. And then I turned it on again, and then it started playing, but really slow for some weird reason. So I'm like, okay, whatever this is doesn't want me to play this music. So I took it off, put it back in the sleeve, the record back in the sleeve, and then I put in on another artist, and it was a woman. She's also deceased, and I put it on. I didn't even look at the album, like the songs on the album. I just put the album on a random side and put it on, right? And it was funny because the album was Ella Fitzgerald. And it started playing That Old Black Magic, That Old Black Magic, and didn't do anything to that record. It played all the way through, no problems. Record player working 100% fine. And I was like, because, maybe the artist that was playing, maybe their deceased energy or their soul or their ghost didn't like my witchy room or whatever I was doing in there. And they didn't want to play. It wasn't MJ, by the way. They were older than that. And it was on Juneteenth, yes. And so the other record of Ella Fitzgerald just played all the way through, no problem, just But this particular album stopped itself. And now that record player has never had a problem before nor after that, because the whole record played through with 0 problems. And it was while we were doing a certain type of spell work. And Me and my daughter were in there, so we both witnessed it at the same time. And that's not the first thing something weird happened in that room. For a long time, that room would get no power at all until I recently had, well, a couple of years ago, we had all that stuff fixed, but also like it would just keep getting drained. That room, because we do a lot of magic in it, it will not like there's always weird stuff happening in that room, okay? Because that's where I keep all of my stuff and do all of my stuff. So there's a lot of weird stuff happening. Like my daughter always tells me that she sees like dark figures or shadow figures in there. And sometimes she felt like someone touched her foot or something like that. And but the funny thing is that she's not afraid, because I was there to explain everything to her, what things are, da da da. And she's, kind of learning about some of the stuff that I know about. So she's not as, freaked out as the normal, teenage girl would be. Um, and she's kind of sensitive because when we went to New Orleans, we went actually on a ghost tour, or she couldn't even go past the first part of the ghost tour because she had started getting touched by ghosts, literally. Um, I think I've told this story before. Like she literally could not go past the first location of the ghost tour because she said she was getting touched too much by ghosts and she had to go. So she's kind of sensitive in that area, like of So she went back to the hotel room with other relatives, and we were like, okay, she doesn't want to go on the ghost tour, but she loves all this sort of stuff. But New Orleans is a whole nother story. Okay, it's overwhelming there if you're very sensitive to spirits. So it was overwhelming to her there, but here it's it's like nothing dangerous or anything. It's more like friendly, benevolent energies. Okay, you said we need to call up Ghost Brothers to investigate. Yes, I would definitely say that some of the parts of our house got a lot of activity. Okay. Also today, this was weird. We got knocked. Okay, there was a knock and there was nobody there. Like just a knock. I looked out the window, look out the door, nobody there. I didn't answer it. I didn't open the door. It's like, forget y'all. Because I don't know if the person was short or if they had ran off real quick, but they weren't there. And then also, like, that was just today and yesterday. Okay. But we recently been doing more spell work and reading more occult books. And usually, like this time of year, you know, as we get closer to the fall and the summer months and all this kind of stuff, all the activity that's going on, all the stuff that's happening, weather wise, because we had like lots of rain and storm yesterday too. Oh, Victoria, you're in New Orleans, so you know. And so, I do have a lot of paranormal stories that have happened in this house, but I have way more that happened when I was younger. And those have been told throughout the channel over the years. But now, you said because the veil is thinner. Yeah, I think it is getting a little thinner as each day goes by. Um, so we used to use the spirit board up there a lot. And after we started using that spirit board up in my office a lot, I think we even have a video on this channel from when we were using it, but I don't know if it's still available or if I put it private. I don't know. But after we started to do it, the spirit board, that's when we started experiencing the weird stuff in the house, like the lights not working in certain rooms and fine in the other rooms. No matter how much we tried to, replace the light bulbs, put in different fuses, whatever. So we did the ghost radio, like the ghost app to also help communicate with the spirit board. And we also did, I forgot what it's called. There's a little tool that you can use and it moves. if there's some type of presence in the room. I don't know. I forgot what it was called. But we started getting a lot of activity, and my daughter started seeing more of those like figures. So we cleansed up there, and we did sage, and we did cleansings and all that kind of stuff. So it stopped for a long time because we didn't really use the spirit board for a while, and it kind of calmed down. But then this is also back when I used to do a lot of spell work for customers. Okay. When I used to do readings, spell work, weekly spell work for clients in my office upstairs. So it was very active up there. And my daughter said that she saw a figure standing over the bed of my other daughter when she walked by her room. But my other daughter was very unaware of what was happening. So she didn't say anything because she didn't want to freak her out. But she says she keeps seeing things up there, and that she said that it looked like a dark figure with like long hair and like pale looking skin and just like very dreary looking. And I said, "You mean, what I look like in the morning?" And she was laughed and she said, "No." I said, "Well, did it feel like it was going to hurt you in any way?" And she says, "No, but it was like weird." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Okay, well, just ignore it. If there's nothing else you're going to be able to do." I said, "Just ignore it and focus on something else, or laugh and say, 'Hey, how you doing? I like your hair, sprinkle, sprinkle,'" because the worst thing to do is to fear anything that you don't understand. And I would just rather just acknowledge whatever the thing was in a calm manner with no fear. Because once you get used to seeing things, and once you get used to experiencing things, and once you get used to whatever, it's just like, you there and I'm here. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Yeah. So it doesn't bother you after a while. It's just like, okay, well, it's a spirit, it's a ghost. Ain't nothing I can do about it. Or, when they're ready to go, they'll leave. They're not causing any trouble. So, whatever. So that was another experience. Mm, I think there was also something in the house that was that probably was working on my behalf. Um, I feel like a lot of things work on my behalf, and I feel like sometimes they let themselves be known, because like it'll be funny because James, he'll always start having these dreams or these nightmares or these good dreams about me to benefit me in some sort of way. I don't even know. But I have no idea. You said they need to pay rent. That's funny. Um, well, see, I'm the kind of person that does not, like, since I was a child, I've been experiencing the same thing and so to me, I don't see it as a problem, you know. And so a lot of people that are sensitive in that way don't see it as a major problem unless it's threatening or negative in some way. So I never saw it as a big problem. Now, when I was younger and I didn't know what anything was, of course it freaked me out a little bit, but as I began to, understand what a lot of this stuff is and read about it and learn about it, it was less and less spooky or less and less scary and more interesting. So instead of fearing it, I literally just ran and dove right into it to learn about it and understand what it was, since no one else could really explain it to me, and learned all that I could, so that if it were to ever happen to my children or someone else that I knew, I could literally help them understand, let them know that, I believe you. There's nothing wrong with you being sensitive and experiencing certain things because, I went through the same thing. So it helps, you know, younger people to not feel like they're alone when they're, experiencing certain things. So, when I was younger, I think I was like 2 or 3 years old, is when I first really experienced like what they would describe as seeing like ghosts, but they were literally just looking like regular people, just regular people, but they had like these injuries. But when you're 2 and 3 years old, you don't understand how injuries can be fatal. So you just see them walking around with these fatal injuries, but you don't know that injuries like that are fatal. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a child, like 2 and 3 years old, and I was in a hospital when I first saw these. These weren't in my home. These were in a hospital. And the hospital was literally built over an old Civil War cemetery that had buried slaves, and they never removed the graves, only the headstones. So the hospital that I was at was actually, we were visiting someone, but it was also the hospital that I was born in. So if y'all are from Houston, y'all probably heard of Jefferson Davis, and there's another location right around the corner. Um, you know what I'm saying? So, and they had turned that one into a whole different facility. But anyway, they renamed it. But anyway, so I would see like these tall guys walking around with bandages on their head, just wrapped around their head. And I think my dad had me on his shoulder so I could see above like the ghosts. And I saw the bandage on their head, and it wasn't fully wrapped because you could see their brain. It wasn't covered with the skull. So you could see their brain, but the bandage was like around their head. And since I was up on my dad's shoulders, I could see the top of their head. And there was flies just landing on it. And I'm like thinking to myself, that's nasty. Why are flies landing on that man's brain or his head? That's gross. Um, and then there was another one walking around with similar injuries, right? Like mostly fatal injuries, just walking around the halls. We weren't in the emergency room. So why would people with major head trauma be walking around the halls of a hospital that's not in the emergency section, not in the emergency room? So when I got older, because I didn't know there were ghosts back then, when I got older and I realized that that was not possible for a man to be walking around with his brain exposed, flies landing on it, then it clicked to me. I was like, I saw a ghost. So at the time, I didn't even know I was seeing a ghost. I thought I was just seeing a man with a really bad injury. And that's really weird, right? And then I saw a lot of those. Let's just say that. I saw a lot of stuff. That's what made me want to be a mortician. Exactly. And then shortly after that, like a lot of people would like, let's just say I was invited to some funerals at a very young age, like 4 years old. And I overheard someone say, like in the emergency room, oh my gosh, you can't go in and see him. He's up in a bunch of pieces. And that literally sparked my interest in wanting to see what that looked like, since I had already seen, what I saw prior to that, with the brain being exposed and lots of injuries and ghosts walking around. So I wanted to see further. I wanted to go back there and see the person that had passed away all cut up. That's what I wanted as a 4-year-old. I remember begging and crying my mom to go see it. And she said no. So I sat in the waiting room with my sister and didn't get to see. And then every funeral that I went to after that, because there was a couple or more, I would literally always stay at the casket for a long time and look in and literally just talk to the bodies. But, you know, that sparked my interest a lot. So ever since then, I always like was fascinated by anatomy, ghosts, haunted places, and the paranormal and things like that. Um, yep. And so when I got older, like I started also experiencing mm, other things where I would be clairaudient and I would get like literal information that checks out true. Okay. And when I would go to research some of the things that I would hear, it would always check out. So I would call it, I don't know, clairaudient, a sixth sense or whatever. And this was way before the internet. This is when you literally had to go to the library. This is before the internet was like readily available to everyone. This is before like dial-up modems were available in houses. So this is like the early 90s, late 80s. And I would literally have to go find library books on all these different types of things and read and research. So that's what I was doing in fifth, sixth, and seventh grade. And at the same time, I also learned tarot. Clairvoyant, clairaudient. Um, okay. So during that time, I lived near where I live now, but it was in a whole nother house in a whole nother neighborhood. And the house was probably built on Native American land because we would go out in the backyard and we would always find arrowheads. Just we were playing around and digging or whatever, and we would always find arrowheads and stuff like that. And right, like literally a mile from the house, when they started building the overpass, they had to stop because they found all these Native American bodies that were unearthed while they were excavating to build the overpass. And so they had to move all of the bodies somewhere else. Literally a mile from my childhood home. So I know we were on like Native American land. And that house, something was always weird and off about that house. I always felt like something was following me up the stairs. All of our pets died while we lived in that house. It was really weird. I saw like the hat figure man in that house. Um, y'all know about that? The like the tall man with the hat on. It's like a shadow figure. I saw that. Um, our dog died. Our cats died in that house. It was just a lot of really weird stuff that happened in that house, like negative energy. My one of my stepdads got struck by lightning, all like electric, not fatally. Um, it was just a really weird energy, right? And trying to think what else weird if I could think. Oh, okay. So next door, our next door neighbor, he's an older guy, and I think his son had passed away, and before we even moved there, and our house would overlook his backyard because it was a two-story, and I saw like a tombstone in his backyard, and it had his son's name on it. I think it was just an honorary tombstone. I don't think his son was buried there because that's illegal, but I think it was just there for memory because I don't know the story if his son lived in that house or not, or how he died. I wasn't trying to be nosy, but it was just really weird. And so we moved, and after we moved from there, we moved to another part of town, and I didn't really experience anything weird after that until like later. Um, but that I think it was also that house as well. And so years later, when the internet was up and running and you could find anything you wanted, I found the address to my old house and I kind of researched it, looked it up on Google Earth, found out who was living there. And I was like, I wonder if they're experiencing the same thing. Should I write them? So I found their email address, like a weird psycho person, and I wrote to them and I asked them, are you experiencing any weird, things in that house, like of the paranormal nature? If so, could you please let me know? Because I used to live there as a child. And they never wrote me back. I still wonder to this day. Okay. Um, you said you love that story. It's a weird story because like I could literally go drive there right now. It's literally like maybe 5 miles from where I live. Um, they skirt, yeah. But like the other houses that I lived in weren't haunted like that. That was the most haunted place that I've ever lived. Okay. um, I missed the super chat. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Do you believe in Santa birthday? I used to see her. Saint it's called the holiest death or holy death. Um, I don't know if I believe in any entities or any saints or whatever. I think that they're an archetype, you know what I'm saying? And a way to explain a certain thing. So I try to stay away from believing in things and more like learning about them. Sprinkle, sprinkle. So did I ever see her as a mortician? uh okay, so yeah, that's how I became very interested in being a mortician. Honestly, first I wanted to be a medical examiner, but I didn't want to go to school for 9 years. And I was more intrigued with um the funeral home type vibes versus the medical vibes. Uh, the mystery, and the beauty, and the romance around it. And you could still, uh, you know, have a hands-on experience with anatomy as a mortician. So that's what I wanted. And when I told my mom that, when I told my mom that I was like 18, I was out of high school. I had done a few courses at like community college because I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. I was helping her in her business because she owned her own business. I had worked at a dentist office prior to that, and my boss, who was a dentist, she told me how she practiced her dental. Um, I don't know what they call it, dental work for school on the dead, on cadavers. And so when I heard that, I was very intrigued. I was like, they had y'all working on cadavers for dental school? Tell me more about that. So she said, yeah, it was weird that you have to work on cadavers in their mouth. And so after that, I knew that, okay, I'm not going to be working at a dentist office forever. And I'm in school. I've got like all my basics out of the way. Maybe I should go to school to be a mortician. And so I looked up all the information on the school that I had to go to, how far away it was, how much it cost, and how long it took. And since I had already had a bunch of credits out of the way, it was going to take me way less time. So I told my mom, I was like, I want to go to mortuary college. And she's like, are you sure? I was like, I'm sure. How many times have I asked you about this, and that, and how weird was I as a child? And you already know I'm into this type of stuff and blah, 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 blah. So she said, okay, we'll get all the information and I will send you. Okay, let's sprinkle, sprinkle. Has your relationship with death changed? Do you fear? No, I never feared death ever. Not since a child, because I seen it too early, and I used to see weird things, and I never feared death ever. Like as a child, I was too close around it. I even had my own cemetery for my goldfish in my backyard. Um, I witnessed my dog get hit by a car, and I went and picked it up, its dead body up out of the street. All we used to have an aquarium, and all of the this is when I was like 2 and 3 years old. Um, we used to have an aquarium, and every time a fish would die, I would get one of those little matchboxes that slide open as a coffin and put the little goldfish in there. And then I would make crosses out of the popsicle sticks. And I had a whole cemetery in my backyard. So as a 2 and 3 year old, maybe I was a mortician in a former life. We don't know. But as a 2 and 3 year old, I had my own cemetery. I witnessed, I guess, animal deaths. I was already seeing weird things at the hospital with injuries on ghosts. And I had already been to a funeral by the age of 4, maybe 2 funerals by the age of 4. Been in funeral homes, wakes, seen the dead by, that age, that young of an age. And so I was very interested, not in a weird way, but in a childlike wonder way. So this interest has always been since I was a child. So in a childlike wonder, I had always been interested in that. And I never feared death. I was always just, you know, had a childlike intrigue. So she said I was born this way. Exactly. Yeah, I was born this way. Okay. Did we choose the witch life or did the witch life choose us? Um, so do I fear menopause? No, I don't fear anything. That I told y'all that. I've seen too much. Okay, so I think when you use the word fear, it means something that you don't know about or understand. So therefore, you don't know how to perceive it, and therefore you fear the unknown. So anything that is unknown to me, I try to learn about so that it is known. So I don't really fear a lot of things anymore. Or I never really did because I was always learning. So I think if you learn, the more you learn, the less you fear. That's it. Um, okay. A lot of things that I saw, like paranormal, a lot of people say, did you see anything weird when you worked in the funeral home? Or did you experience anything strange in the funeral home? Blah, 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 blah. Um, no, but I was probably weird in the funeral home. Like I would talk to the deceased while I was working on it, or I would predict the next type of person that would be, coming to the funeral home. Or we play a game like the other workers. We play a game to guess what type of person was going to be next to come into the funeral home, and I would win like most of the time. um, so yeah, one of the funeral homes that I did work in was very old and built in the Victorian era, and that would have probably been the most haunted one. But I never really experienced anything paranormal there. But if I did, it probably would have been there because it's such an old place. Um, Never experienced anything paranormal in the funeral home because I feel like at that time, everyone's resting. They're deceased. There's nothing else really happening right there. What are the energetic repercussions being around death often? Um, well, naturally, it takes a few days for all the energy to leave your body. So that's why if you ever try to cremate someone, there's a 72-hour waiting period before you can cremate someone because all of the energy has to dissipate from the body. Well, that's not why they say it's for, but that's what really it's for. All the energy to dissipate from the body takes about 3 days. How you cover yourself from physical and spiritual attack? I don't think anybody physically. You mean physical attack? Tasers, knives, spiritual attack? I think I don't need to cover myself from spiritual attack because that was done a long, long time ago. You just do it one good time. You don't have to worry about it ever again. You know, so it's kind of like having insurance. So I would say if you worry about that, to do one spell that covers you forever, maybe your loved ones as well, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. Okay. Is it an incomplete spell if you don't bury your jar and that's optional? I don't think so. If you think it's incomplete, if it's in your mind that it's incomplete, that's what it's going to be to you. So whatever makes it feel complete to you, that's what you got to do. Okay. All right. More paranormal. Okay. So have you ever communicated with a candle? Like used spirits to communicate via candle flame, flicker. So you get into a room where there's no vents and you light a candle from far away. You stand far away to where your breath is not going to like blow the candle or flicker the candle flame. So then, you welcome in any benevolent energies that would like to communicate. So you light your candle. It can be like a tape. What are these? It could be like one of these. These work the best. You get one of these or something that's not in a jar. Okay. Thank you, SheRa, Sprinkle Sprinkle. Appreciate you. Your loved ones and I are covered then. Thank you. Yes. So get one of these. You light it. Make sure there's no vents or fans or anything on. You put it across the room. And then you welcome any energies that want to communicate that are friendly, benevolent, benevolent. Okay. And then you ask questions and you say, flicker the flame if such and such and such and such. So like, if there are any spirits here right now, let it be known by flickering the flame. So the flame would be still, like, and then when you ask the question, if there was any, presence, it will start flickering. And then when you get that first flicker, you can start asking your questions. So me and my daughter would sit there and ask the candles, the energies, questions through the candles, and they would literally be accurate. So I don't know. There's something spooky to try if you want, just to see if it's working, because they use energy, they use flame, they use heat, they use electricity to get energy from in order to communicate. And the flame is right there, easy to flicker, easy to manipulate from the other realm. So that's one of the easiest way to kind of communicate. Okay. Spirits, energies, whatever. How to differentiate with good and bad? Well, that's what you call in. You only call in the good. Okay. You said, what would you say to those spirits trapped and couldn't ascend? Do better next time. Not funny, but there's more you need to learn. Pay attention. Do what you gotta do. Did a dusty get you here? The same sense of humor I have, with normal people. It's the same sense of humor I have with spiritual energies. Okay. Okay. How do I feel about pendulums? I think they're very accurate as well. Candle flickers and pendulums are pretty good if you know how to use them. So if you know how to use them, yes. I like pendulums. I used to make pendulums. I used to sell pendulums. It was like one of my first businesses on Etsy. Okay. Is it risky doing spell work in your bedroom? Depends on what kind of spell work you're doing and what you're doing up in that bedroom. So if it's love spells, if it's lust spells, if it's attraction spells, probably not going to affect anything because that's what you want to bring to it, if that's what you're trying to bring to it. But other types of spells, I would suggest somewhere else, or you can go outside, or you can have a special section of your room and like kind of close it off from the rest of your room, maybe. But I definitely feel like keeping certain spells um, more closed off if they have nothing to do with your bedroom is wise. But not everyone has a lot of space and room, so just maybe section it off if that's the best thing you can do. Oh, timeless tea. What's the difference between seeing creatures and seeing the dead? As a child, I saw different animal-like creatures, but not the dead. Spark, spark. Okay, well, you're probably more in tune with nature. Are you an earth sign? Um, you are, or did you live? I don't know, like a lot. I would have to ask you a lot of questions, but I have this candle has glitter all over. I need to put it in. Uh, I don't know, like timeless tea. Are you an earth sign? Were you close to nature? Like, I don't know. You said you a Libra, but my chart is mostly earth sign. Okay, so you're air and then your signs are both air. Okay. So maybe you were seeing more elementals, like versus the other side. I don't know. But you're very close to nature. Okay. Free will is just that free will can't force your will to anyone, right? If whatever you're seeing, I would literally just research it and learn more about them. You know what I'm saying? See how you can use what you're seeing to your advantage. That's the best thing I can do. Okay. You said, have I worked with jinn? Well, okay, y'all know I have a sense of humor, right? So I would read and study about everything, not just ghosts and witches, and vampires and spells and the occult. I would study everything. So one day I was reading about jinns and how they're, very similar to certain beings in different cultures, and how they live in the smokeless fire or the smokeless flame, or as I call it, the plasma or the other realm. Um, and so, y'all remember when everyone used to ask Siri questions that we knew she couldn't answer or we knew would have a silly answer? So, me and my daughter would ask about like the jinn to Siri. We were like, Siri, are you up there with the jinn? um, we would just ask silly questions and then Siri would start answering back weird stuff, right? And then we would take the phone and we would do automatic text divination. And we would like divine in that manner. We would like, and then like a couple of times that we were doing the automatic text thing. We would just like move our finger on the screen where all the text buttons were, and words would just pop up automatically, right? So it's kind of random. And like a lot of times the Jinn word popped up. So that was really weird, but I don't work with them. I just read about them. Okay. And then I also like I've seen a lot of movies, not just Aladdin, but like some paranormal movies that included them. And it's it's very similar to some of the energies that are like um, fallen angels, or those type of energies. Some people call them demons or whatever. They like were supposed to exist before mankind, and then mankind came and they were jealous of mankind, and they wanted to make mankind fall so that they could rule the earth again, and da, 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 da. He said I ain't got to work with nothing. They looked like underworld creatures, like the creatures explained in ancient Egyptian books. Sacred scared the life out of me. Some of them flew. Oh, timeless tea, sprinkle, sprinkle. Well, that's interesting. Well, I grew up watching a lot of these weird movies from the 80s, like Labyrinth, then Fraggle Rock, all the Muppets, Gremlins. So I was used to seeing those things on TV. So I would imagine those kind of energies and creatures have some type of origin story to be made into fiction. So a lot of the stuff that you see on TV, a lot of the creatures that you see as make believe on TV are actually, maybe creatures that people have also seen in other realms, and so they put them into movies and science fictions and all that kind of stuff. So just think of it, you're being able to see into another realm, just like a lot of those people that have created those types of stories. If someone died and came back with and is able to breathe underwater, since what could it mean? Breathe underwater. I'd have to see that to believe it. Uh-oh, semi-raw, sprinkle, sprinkle. Now, if it's hold their breath for a long time, that's a different story than breathing underwater. So I don't know if I would really believe that until I had to witness it for myself. Okay. But if that were to happen and I did see it for myself, I would think that they always had that, but were unaware of how to use it. And maybe if they had a near death experience, something may have unlocked in their brain, which would control their anatomy to make them be able to process water the same way they do air. But that's the only way I could think of it. Okay. And then, sometimes people have these genes, these DNA um, junk DNA, and they're not activated. Maybe they're not activated until something spiritually happens to that person, or maybe they have a near death experience, or maybe they get some type of clue and hint from the other side and then they come back. Maybe that DNA is more spiritual and has to be activated through some type of intervention as that. Do I believe some type of humanoid but lives beneath the earth in a sense, like different realms, or in a physical realm? In this frequency or in another frequency? In this universe or in another universe? You know what I'm saying? Thank you. You always look gorgeous. Uh-oh, thank you, Simi Ron. Sprinkle, sprinkle. So if you understand the multiverse, different realms, different, what you call it, portals, ley lines, vortex, frequencies, all those things, It depends on what time it is, what date it is, what frequency the earth is on, what you're going to see and what you're not going to see. So, for example, you could dig and dig and dig and never find anything. But on the right time, at the right moment, on the right ley line, at the right vortex, you might see something. So that's the best way I can explain it. It's kind of like your chances of seeing a ghost in a haunted house. Some people ain't going to see it. Some may see them more around a certain time of year. Some might see them more in different cities. So it's kind of like that. It just depends on what time it is, where you at, how sensitive you are, etc., etc. Thank you. Yeah, I have a whole book about ley lines and vortices, vortex, where energy is, places on earth where there's lots of energy. Most of the major cities are built on these ley lines that connect and all this kind of stuff. Okay. You said happy summer solstice. Thank you, Weave Now, Sprinkle Sprinkle. Um, the book is called something like Earth Grid or something like that. Just type in Earth Grid book about ley lines. It might be in my Amazon, my spiritual items I suggest on Amazon storefront. But just go to Amazon, just type in Earth Grids ley line book. It should come up. I can't remember the name of it, but it's thin. Okay. Okay. There's a show, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the librarians, but they tap into a lot of occult and like type of stuff like that. I know there's an episode about ley lines and different stuff like that. If y'all ever are looking for something different to watch. You said, do you incorporate animals or insects in spells? No. I do not incorporate animals or insects in spells. I did find a beetle, like a giant scarab beetle, that I have, but I never included anything like that in no spell work. Okay. Sorry, I'm not trying to go out and catch bugs and animals. And those people that do, it's a whole nother energy and a whole nother, frequency with that. I live in the suburbs. Okay. Okay. Do I identify as a high with I don't identify as nothing. I identify as everything. So everything. There you go. That's my pronoun. All. There you go. People hate when I say that because they want to label you. Just label me all. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Uh-oh, timeless tea. Thank you, girl. You just started reading Idiot's Guide to Alchemy, and oh my God, the first 15 pages have changed my whole life. Thank you, girl. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Yeah, that's a good book. It teaches a lot. Uh-oh, Lauren, you got the whole HEAUX pheromones. They said they work a little too good. I told you. You thought I was playing. I don't know if I have it in the description bar, but oh my goodness, I'm gonna put it here. But y'all, I can't wear that stuff everywhere. I got to pick and choose. Like seriously, you can't. Don't wear that just anywhere. Don't wear it in no dusty area, that's for sure. Okay. I got the whole set. They were sent to me. It's called Secret Weapon. There are different pheromones to attract men in a platonic way or a sexual way. And then there's one to attract women if you're a man or if you like women. Then the finesse spray, it makes them very talkative to you. So they'll want to talk to you. They'll be revealing all their secrets and stuff. So spray that finesse on. Sprinkle, sprinkle. That literally is a paranormal experience if you never tried it. It worked too good, okay? You say you made a mistake wearing love oil in a dusty area. Oh, that's your problem. That's your problem. You wash it off. Do I believe the dream real is the real world? Well, can you fly in the real world? Because people be flying in the dream realm. Is the Marvel comic world the real world? If so, I'd like to meet Dr. Strange. Okay. People just walked up to me and started talking. I told you, Moonchild Magic. Don't play with that. Them hormone, them pheromones. Freya's enchantments. You make spell oils and different figure candles and sell them on Etsy. I'd love to send you a package. Thank you for all your advice and wisdom. Okay, Freya's enchantments. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Okay, I have an Etsy store too. You could write me on there. It's linked in the description bar, or you can just type in Dark Realm on Etsy. And that's my store. Or you can find the link in the description. Write me there and then we can discuss it further. Thank you. I appreciate it though. I like getting free gifts, so I appreciate it. I'll shout out your store for sure. Did you say your pronoun is all? Because it is. Thank you, Freya's enchantments. I'll shout you out for sure. I'll do a little haul for your Etsy shop when it arrives. Thank you. You said what's the link? You can't find it? Okay, I'm gonna put it here. It's in the comments. Is it working? And oh, hold on. That's not it. That's my book. Hold on. Hold on one second. What happened? I have to find it again. Hold on. Oh no, I must have deleted it. Okay. It's on my last video in the description bar. But I'll type the website in and you can just go find it. Okay. And then you can use my coupon code SheRa. All one word. Save some money. Okay. Did you watch Terrence Howard interview? I've seen some of it, but he's a little different like me. Seeming, we have the same birthday. So, Mhm. Why do a lot of metaphysical shops sell Jezebel root as tree bark? Do it have the same spiritual properties as the real root? Um, I feel like if that is the real root, that's what they've been selling. I don't know. People saying it works. So let me see what it's supposed to really look like if it's not what it's people are selling. I'm typing it. Okay, looks the same to me. Guess it depends on what part of the root or tree you're getting it from. I don't know. Okay. You see, reclaim your thrones. So yeah, a lot of people tell me about that type of weird stuff that, especially on this channel, that they see in some of my videos, like some orbs stuff flying around. Especially when I used to film upstairs in my office. Um, just write me on my Etsy store. The link's in the description bar. You can message me there for if you have something like a business. Okay, it's Dark Realm on Etsy. Um, okay, another weird story. So weird dolls. How many of y'all have like weird dolls or antique store dolls or like some old weird looking doll that has some weird energy, some Annabelle type stuff happening? Okay, so I have a doll. It's locked up in a cabinet like Annabelle. Um, y'all gonna laugh, but I'm sorry. It's okay. Some of y'all are old enough to know who the Little Rascals are, but it is a Little Rascals porcelain doll of buckwheat. And if y'all don't know that show, it's from like the 50s or something. I don't even know. But it's like a doll with like an afro. It's, you know, I found it in a used shop. So I don't know if it was an antique shop or a thrift store, but it wasn't new. And I had it out for a long time. And this is part of my cleansing process when I was trying to get rid of some of the stuff in my office, spiritually. Because the doll was out. It wasn't locked in anything. It wasn't in any cabinets. So I had it just sitting on a shelf or in the window seal or something. And y'all probably seen it if y'all have been on my channel for a long time. So, like, if you work with a lot of spirits, if you do a lot of conjuring or spell work or, all that kind of stuff, working with spirits, spirit boards, dolls and things of that sort become conduits if you have a lot of energies and stuff. So it's important that you kind of put them away. So that doll used to like just be still, just like nothing. And then when things start getting active, it would fall or it would like just have this weird energy around it. It wouldn't really move to a different area by itself, like they say in the movies. It would just fall a lot and just have like a weird, creepy vibe around it. So my daughter was the one that said that we should put it in behind the closed cabinet doors. And so it's like a glass case cabinet with all my other stuff in there. So it's not Tales from the Hood, exactly like Tales from the Hood, almost. So we put it up. It's in the cabinet, along with my books from mortuary school that actually have been in the same room while I was working, you know, on the dead. I put that away too in the cabinet because when I used to go to mortuary school and when I worked in the funeral homes, after I went to mortuary school, I also had a job after school at a mortuary. So um, those books have a lot of energy too because they went with me to lots of places where there was death. And so I locked them up too. I also have a casket key, which morticians use to seal the casket after it's been closed so it doesn't reopen. I also put that in there because I used to use that a lot. Oh, Simi Ross, Sprinkle Sprinkle, do you do spell work with other people? No. I used to do spell work for other people and charge for it, yes. But I no longer do that. Not because I don't want to, it's because I would have too much work to do because everybody would want one. This was before, there was a lot of people on the YouTube. All right. So, yes, I have all those things locked up in the little cabinet. And I looked up because one of my embalming books, it's called a reconstruction. I forgot what it's called, but it's how to reconstruct a face after it's been damaged on a dead body. I can't remember the name of the book, but it's an old textbook and it's worth a lot of money online. So I'm saving it. It's an antique. How can you get over the fear of these energies and think of them just like normal people? How do you get over normal people? How do you get over dusties? How do you get over, people that don't get along with you the same way? I just see them as normal people. Like, there are people that walk around that have social anxiety from normal people in normal crowds, right? It's the same thing. Like, you have spiritual anxiety and fear. So just treat them like they're normal people. They don't bother me. So, for example, if there is some people that have bad energy that you don't want to hang around, what do? You separate yourself from them, right? You don't bother with them anymore. You don't talk to them. You don't deal with them no more. That's literally just it. Just ignore. Avoid, ignore, do something different. Okay. Do you attract spirits and ghosts if you do candle spells? Well, when you're doing magic, what you're doing literally is reconstructing the energetic way that your thoughts and the pattern of your thoughts create and manifest. So you're using a whole nother realm, the realm that some of these beings are on. And so it's kind of like opening a portal. It literally is. And the beings say, oh my gosh, someone is opening that portal because they're trying to use the energy to help their manifestation, whether it's mental, physical, or whatever. So it's going to cause a little bit of attention. But think about this. When people pray, when people go to church, they're doing the same thing, but they're just calling on different forms of spirits or entities or deities. You see, it's the same thing. That's why when people ask me, what deities do you work with? What energies do you work with? What spirit? I don't work with nobody. I told y'all I can't work with nobody or for nobody. I'm an entrepreneur, period. Which means if I tell you that I identify as all, I don't need to work with. Okay. This is the mentalism or the mental alchemy that you have to come to. This is when lead turns to gold. This is the self-actualization when people ask those types of questions and they get, well, I don't work with anybody. It's not being arrogant. It's not being conceited. It's knowing thyself. And that is, if you study alchemy, that is the conclusion that you're all going to arrive to eventually. Anyway, okay. Okay. You said none of these demons, spirits, angels, or saints are outside of us. Thank you, Maria. Sprinkle, sprinkle, because, if you're everything, then everything is you. To quote Miss Lauryn Hill, everything is everything. Okay. Mm-mm-mm. If y'all are wondering how also to get to this point of thinking and feeling, I definitely urge you to check out my book, How to Manifest with Magic and Dark Cosmic Energy. It's in the description bar, and I also pinned it to the top of the live comments. It will help you realize a lot faster some of the things that may take you a little bit longer to figure out. You said, tell us a mortician story. Okay, tell me the type of story you want to hear, and I'll see if I have one. You said your video on dark matter changed my life. Thank you, Maria. I appreciate that. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Mm-hmm. So anyway, um, you said, has a cadaver ever disappeared? No, not the places that I've worked. No. Um, I will tell you that it did start me on a journey to give up red meat. When I became a mortician, 2 weeks after I saw what I saw, I gave up red meat permanently forever because it looks too much like human meat, smells too much like human meat. I gave it up, ma'am, sir. No more red meat for me. So it was only poultry and seafood until maybe four years ago. Then I went vegetarian, plant-based, and that is what stopped me from eating red meat when I was 19 years old. And I used to eat a lot when I was 19. I was a big back. And the funniest thing, I'll tell you a story. And I don't like to disrespect, the dead, but this person that was deceased laying in the embalming room had to be embalmed. And there was other bodies in the embalming room. And my boss, who was a guy, he said, okay, I need you to go prepare that body downstairs in the mortuary room. I mean, in the embalming room. And I said, which one? He said, the one that's about your size. So I'm going down there to look. All I saw was two men and one woman, and she was way bigger than me. So I looked at myself and I looked at her. I said, I know he didn't. Let's just say I slimmed down very quickly after that. I was like, I know he didn't. After I saw how hard it was to work with certain people of certain sizes, it's always kept me conscious of my weight, when to start losing, if I start gaining. Like a lot of y'all notice that my weight fluctuates, but I never let myself go. I always dial it back in. It's because I know it's rude, right? It's because when I was a mortician, I used to see a lot of bigger people, and sometimes they'd have to order a special casket, or they'd have to be smushed into a casket, or they'd have to get cremated because they couldn't afford a larger casket, and so on and so forth. And then also, I don't see a lot of fat or really big or obese old people. You don't see them walking around because they're gone. I had to pick up several cases of like really big people. And sometimes they send you by yourself to the hospitals to remove, to do a removal. That's what they would call it. And they didn't tell you sometimes how big the people were. And so sometimes you have to call for backup, for help. You know what I'm saying? So it's always kept me thinking, okay, I don't see old, fat, obese people nowhere. I don't see them. And I have kids, and I want to see the grandkids, and I want to live, and I want to build my dream house, and I want to do this. And so it keeps me thinking about my mortality and the goals that I still have left. So it's a good diet tactic. And also, like I said, stopped me from eating red meat when I was 19. Okay. Which is probably some of the reason why, a lot of people stop eating red meat, because it looks too human. One of the cases that I had was a car accident where the body was literally charred and burned. And I had to go to the medical examiner's office to pick that person up and take them back to the funeral home. And it smelled just like barbecue. Okay. If you hadn't eaten lunch and you walked in there from that charred smell of meat, you might be a little hungry. But it was also mixed with all the stuff in the intestines and the stomach. So the smell was kind of mingled, if you know what I mean. It wasn't good. So no more red meat for me. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Do I practice necromancy? Everyone practices necromancy. It's one of those things that people practice and they don't even realize it, or they know. Okay. It's like every time you celebrate Halloween, Dia de los Muertos, celebrate your ancestors, talk to anyone who's ever passed, light a candle for someone. That's necromancy. When you worship deities who have died, or when you call out to deities who are no longer with us and had suffered a physical death, that's also necromancy. You know what I'm saying? So everyone practices necromancy in some form or way. Now, if you're doing it with purpose, like in a spell or something like that, that's just practicing it on a deeper level. Okay. You said it's technically necromancy. It is. I mean, if you really want to get technical with it, like if you want to go into like deep thought with it, everyone practices it. So sprinkle, sprinkle. Am I a man? I'm more man than you. Sprinkle, sprinkle. That means I probably have more money than you. Anyway, I'm more man than you in my bank account. Let's just say that. All right. I'm more man than a lot of people. You said she was a big boss. If you're interested, if I'm a man or not, if that's why you clicked on the video, happy Pride Month to you. You said girl on a mission. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Technically, all men are women in the womb first. So, are you a woman? Is the question. You have nipples. I don't have balls. So, and if I did, I still wouldn't be interested in you. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You ain't got enough money, sir. All right. You ordered some stuff from Esoterica. Thank you. Oh, okay. That's good. I was just talking about going back to New Orleans today, but I think I'm going to wait until a couple more years so that my daughters can be grown. Sprinkle, sprinkle. How to protect yourself from spell work from others. Be bigger than that. I would say the first type of magic you should ever do is an overall protection spell from all permanently, so you don't have to worry about it ever again. Okay. It's like putting that plastic stuff over a couch. You know how they used to have in the old days? And you don't have to worry about nobody spilling nothing on it. It's like that. You got to do an overall protection for always. And then just go with that. And there you go. Protection spell against dusty spray, a bunch of raid everywhere. He's so silly. Okay. Permanent protection spell is when you do it once and believe in your work enough to not have to do it again. So it just depends on your level of confidence in your skills and yourself, literally. Okay. It's kind of like building a house. You're going to choose the right words, aka the right materials, the right words, in order to create a house that's going to last for a long, long, long time until you're gone. You use a brick house, you're using bricks, you're using wood, you're using straw, the story of the three little pigs. So choose your words wisely in your protection spell, and you won't have any problems. Okay. Um, so some more paranormal things that I could tell you about. Um, can you practice witchcraft as a Buddhist? You can do whatever you want. Don't you have free will in that religion? Don't you have free will? You can do what you want. Um, so if y'all have been on this channel for a long time, y'all probably already know. Because some people ask me, and I just say, coincidence, maybe. I don't know. But two of my exes are no longer with us. And I didn't do anything. Okay. Just so y'all know. But someone asked a long time ago, do you ever do spells on your exes and da 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 da? I was like, no, I don't do spells. I don't waste stuff, materials and energy on people that I don't care about or will never see again and don't really matter to me anymore. But they did happen to not be with us anymore. So I didn't do anything, but perhaps I was smart enough to not be with them anymore. And I might have, not had to experience all those things with them. Y'all silly. No, I wasn't with them at the time. It was long gone. Like years gone. Years gone. Years gone. So what languages do you use with your spell work and why? Ebonics. Just kidding. English, ma'am. You can use Latin if you want. Like I've been learning Latin, English, whatever you feel like works the best for you. It's your intention and your vibration that really fuels it, and your um, confidence within your own self that really fuels it. A long time ago, people wrote a lot of stuff in Latin because they wanted to keep it secret from the masses as well, because not everybody could learn Latin. So it's usually in different languages because it's like if something is secret, it's more sacred. And when something is sacred, you feel it's more powerful and has more energy and magic to it, right? So if you're learning Latin and you're using Latin for your spell work, how does that make you feel? How does it change your frequency using Latin? Does it make it seem more powerful and sacred? Well, that's what it's adding to it. So if your words are powerful and sacred within themselves without having to use a different language, if it's sacred here, then you're good to go. But I think it's cool to learn some other language to put it in, also to keep prying eyes away if they should find your spell work or your petition, they don't know what it means. What does it mean? I mean, it's kind of hard to Google translate Latin unless they know it's Latin. I mean, they could figure it out still today because of Google Translate. But either way, there are also different magical languages as well that people can use, or symbols. So whichever way makes you feel more powerful, then that's what you use. You said ask AI to help you translate some spells. That's funny. You said if you feel called to, could you channel a message for me? Channel a message to who? To what? Hmm. Have I read about Enochian magic? Yes, I read about it. I have books on it. Um, it's a what John D. I have the John D. cards. Um, the books. I've read the Book of Enoch as well. The symbols of it. I don't really use it, but I read about it. You said AI witchcraft. That's funny. Y'all gonna have AI doing spells. Um, that would be something. You said AI is literally an example of alchemy. Yes. Okay, so here's another thing. This is where I kind of like have a little bit of skepticism when it comes to certain things. So I was watching a video about near death experiences today, and I've seen a lot of these videos before, but this was just like a compilation of many. And so what these people had in common was that whatever their religion was, their near death experience would literally just start creating from that religion, no matter what. Then, there were people that didn't have religion, and it would start creating what it thought, or they would start going to a place like in nature or a field in a meadow, which is symbolic for the field or the plasma or whatever. So whatever, I'm going to call it a technology. Whatever the technology is that the consciousness taps into while having a near death experience or after death is technology. And a lot of people want to call it a higher power, higher beings, da 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 da. Um, and this is what I will feel for a long, long time. It's technology. It's a form of technology that is beyond what you are allowed to know. It's like a program, exactly. It's technology. So, like, kind of like the movie Avatar, but very, very similar. But it is a form of technology. When people want you to believe in a higher being or a higher power or a deity or a god or something like that, and they use a form of ways to, manipulate you through religion, through what your consciousness experiences upon like a near death experience or after death or when you come back. It's all the same. So you have to know it's technology. It's it's literally technology. So what I feel is whatever you're programmed to believe, that's what you're going to start to create, because once your energy or your spirit leaves your body, it then becomes part of another body, like the all, and not like a god, but like the rest of the energy from where you came from. You know how they say you can't destroy energy? So all your energy literally just goes back to where it came from. And what you're experiencing is simply technology. Like your program. You said this brain is literally a computer. Yes. So whatever your program is, it's kind of like if you're playing a video game and your video game has this quest, this kind of, deity or being or creature in it, that's what you're going to experience. If you're playing a different video game and you got a bunch of like other type of creatures or energies or deities and spirits around you, that's what you're going to experience. But so many people don't realize it's technology that's programming. And so a lot of people get hung up on the fear. But what most of these people have in common when they have a near death experience is the overall feeling of calm and no panic, because you no longer have any stress of, you know, wherever you're leaving from. So it seems like technology that in a couple of decades from now is going to be common knowledge. Okay. It's going to be common knowledge in decades from now. But for now, they're not going to tell you yet. And the reason why I'm telling y'all that they're not going to tell you yet, they tell you so much in science fiction, in books, in certain religions and things like that, but they're not going to literally tell you yet because they still want a level of hierarchy. Humans to feel like they are being watched over and have like these higher beings. And they want them to forget that they have free will. So just think of it as technology and your program and whatever video game you're playing, whatever knowledge you have occurred. I mean, whatever amount of knowledge you have, gotten is what you're going to use to create whatever happens to you next. Okay. So whatever is going to happen to you next is your option and your choice, and you create it. If you read my book that I linked in the top of the live feed and also in the description bar, How to Manifest with Magic and Dark Cosmic Energy, I go into all that too. Like I say, in a void, in darkness, in the womb, in the beginning, it's all imagination and what you create. And you have to be a creator in order to, create your life, your afterlife, your other afterlife, your afterlife after that, whatever. You have to be the creator of it. If y'all grew up in the 80s or watched the old movie called Never Ending Story, it's the same thing. At the end, they had to recreate everything through their imagination. Okay. You said your device believes in aliens. Well, if you think about it, what is an alien? Someone that's not from where you're from. An alien can be anything. It could be an illegal alien, an interdimensional being. It could just be anything that's not where you from. Anything that ain't from here. You know what I'm saying? You could be an alien. That's deep, right? Everyone's an alien. You know what? When I figured out everyone was an alien, I was a mortician. And now this is going to be sensitive to some of women or men who have lost a child, like who have miscarried. So if you're sensitive to that, click off or pause or whatever. But I had to go to the woman's hospital, and when your baby is miscarried after 20 weeks, I believe 20 weeks, you have to legally have some sort of burial, cremation, or funeral home take care of the body. And so they sent me to pick up, a miscarriage that was like 20 weeks along. And I'm thinking it's going to be like in a little casket or a little box or a little body bag or whatever, but it was not. It was like in a bucket with embalming fluid. But when I opened it, it just looked like an alien, because that's what human fetuses look like when they are still developing in the womb, because their energy and their spirit is not from here yet. What gets into you and animates your body is the alien, because it's not from here. It's from a different realm, and only women can bring it into this realm. So we're all aliens. That's why they all make aliens look like fetuses. Okay. Yes, I have seen a lot in my life. That's why I don't play around. Okay. You ain't got no time to waste. And if you're wasting time, then you don't know. Okay. We're all aliens, darling. It's literally we're all aliens. We ain't from here. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Okay. Maybe that's why the Pope believe in aliens now. He finally got woke. I told you on my last video, if you, a lot of people go on a spiritual journey. They study alchemy, they study the paranormal, they study this, they study that. And they always come back to some weird stuff that you can always retrace right back to the womb, to the mother. Okay? Because the aliens, they all have a mother ship. Okay. So that's why. Mm-hmm. What? Thank you, Spirit Reads. I'm glad you like my videos. Sprinkle, sprinkle. That's why you brought just girls over. um. Well, if you watched my last video, I talked about the matrix and then a frequency or a pattern. Matrix, matrix. I mean, not matrix. Matrix equals mother. Pattern equals paternal, maternal, paternal. The pattern, the frequency, and then the matter in which the frequency affects the egg and the sperm is masculine and feminine, right? So when you have a mother or matter, the pattern that is created onto the matter is in the offspring. So, but you know how they have the old age question, which came first, the chicken or the egg? The egg. Okay. Some people say the egg because it's literally one of the most ancient symbols in the occult. And in order to fertilize or create from an egg, there has to be a pattern or a frequency. And a lot of people realize that, you can make cells multiply through frequency. And the sperm has a little tail on it, which creates a frequency when it's penetrated the egg. If the sperm didn't have a tail to create a frequency, usually if it's not whipping hard enough, the woman is not going to get pregnant. So it's a frequency. It's not the sperm itself. Luckily, the sperm has DNA in it from the man that gets a little free ride, and the tail is what causes the frequency of the egg to start to grow, So if you were to take an egg and use the same type of frequency with no DNA from no man, so they call an immaculate conception. And it's just a frequency that causes your egg to start growing into a zygote, an embryo. So when people say you need a man to have a baby. In the traditional way, yes, but scientifically, no. So the mystery of how the pyramids were created through sound frequency, levitation, and all this and that, do you not think that they had ways to do the same thing with an egg? You know? Anyway, but in order to create a sense of family, they allowed and created the way for the paternal, the father, and the mother to create as separate beings instead of just a frequency. So, like the beings that you are referring to, or the energies that you're referring to on a higher level, some call them angels, some call them whatever, gods. Those beings are on a higher frequency. And when you read some of the stories that they have in the Bible or whatever, when they say the angels fell to earth to mate with the human women, because they were, they were lusting after the human women. These higher energies, these higher beings that were vibrating on a higher frequency, were able to, like, if you notice, a lot of times in these biblical stories, they'll say an angel came and told such and such that they was gonna have the baby by the Lord. And so, like, what? The angel did what? And then they will come into other people's dreams, sort of like technology, and tell, stay with this woman and make sure you raise this child because it's by the Lord, you know, or by the God or whatever. So they had these higher energies that vibrated on a higher frequency, communicating to people through dreams, through vibrations, through frequencies, through fear. And the whole time, if you're just witnessing, reading all this stuff, and you study the occult, and you study technology, and you study science, and you study frequency, and you study vibration, you're going to start to see that there's a technology at play that's been doing the same stuff for many years. And so eventually you'll say, okay, well, I wonder what's going to happen when people get too smart for that to go unnoticed. I wonder what's going to happen when people get too smart and figure that out, that it's all technology. Okay. You said it's because women are already on that frequency. Yeah. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Was it hard being intelligent around others? Alcohol helped a lot. When I was younger, you got a choice. You go find some nerds. If you can't find them, then you find some alcohol. And when you get your little drink on, you're not worried about that other stuff. You just want to have fun. When you get older, though, and you become like a mature, responsible adult, um, and you can't really find people that are on that same level near you. I mean, you might find a lot of people online because that's easy, but in real life, it's kind of hard because most people aren't really out about a lot of things that they think about or believe in because they fear other people are going to look at them crazy, or they just don't have the knowledge. So, I just read and continue to study and learn and teach, whoever want to hear about it, through these videos, or just, write things. So, said most people are normies and don't know anything. I missed your super chat, Naya. Hold on. Let me see. Thank you. Spiritual reason for blockages and faith in self. Someone told you who you were and you believed them, or you don't know your capability. So here's my thing. If you don't trust yourself and you don't feel powerful within yourself, you're looking outside of self for power and for other people to trust. If you're vibrating, I don't trust myself and I'm powerless, that's what you're going to attract. So in order to be powerful and trust yourself, you have to be powerful and trust yourself. Literally, that's it. So the best way to do this is to think of yourself as a projector. If you don't trust yourself, you're not going to make moves. You're going to block yourself because you don't trust yourself. If you don't have a lot of confidence in your spell work, you don't think it's going to work. And that's another way of blocking it. So you have to learn to trust yourself first and have enough confidence in your work that it's working or is going to work or already worked before you even start it. You got to get on a level of being a goddess, not a human. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. It's kind of like if you're a surgeon and you've been a surgeon for years versus an intern. And someone says, go operate on this patient. As an intern, you're going to be nervous. You're going to be scared. You're going to be shaking. You're going to be reviewing your notes and worried and sweating. Am I going to save this patient or not? But if you're a seasoned surgeon and you have done that surgery 100 times with no sleep, when you go into that operating room, you're not nervous at all. You just, okay, I got to go golfing at 5 and let's get this done. Think of it like that. Oh, Goddess Warrior, sprinkle, sprinkle. Miss Chloe G said, thanks, sprinkle, sprinkle. Uh-oh. Tell her I said, hey, sprinkle, sprinkle. Does anyone have any recommendations on consciousness and goddess books? Just whatever you're attracted to, I say. You said a projector. Is that the significance of the eye? Yes, if you studied Leonardo da Vinci, he drew the eye, but he drew it as the sun and the earth, and how the sun shone light on the earth, and it was the same. Let's see if I can find it. The same as a lens of the eyeball. So he drew the eyeball, and then he drew it like the sun and the earth, and how it was a certain. I don't know if it's in here. A certain angle and a perspective. So you can't have projection without light. You can't see without light. There are no eyeballs without light. If you ever go to the bottom of the ocean, you see them fish. They don't even have eyeballs because there ain't no light down there. They don't need an eyeball. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Their eyeball, I don't know. I never did an autopsy on one of those type of fish. They might have some type of internal guidance. Sprinkle, sprinkle. I can't find that figure in here. Just look it up. Leonardo da Vinci eye drawing. I don't know. But it definitely, I like how he draws things. When he does it like scientifically, he'll relate it to something else totally different so that you can make the connections. And then also, if you look at the solar system and how the planets do an elliptical orbit around the sun, it literally is in the shape of an eye. So, yeah. You say he also drew alien species? Mhm. So, yeah, he drew a lot of stuff. Back in those days, they studied anatomy too by doing like dissections and seeing how it looked inside of a womb. Um, this is interesting because see, this right here is the womb when it's not pregnant, and this is the womb when it is pregnant. And if a female dies and she just gave birth or she's pregnant, the first thing to decay is her womb if she's pregnant or just gave birth. But if she's not pregnant or just haven't given birth at all, the womb is the last thing that decays because it's so fibrous and strong. So you said there are fish that live in caves who don't have eyes. There ain't no light. They don't need an eye. Okay. You said what book is that? Leonardo da Vinci by Walter Isaacson. I have so many Leonardo da Vinci books. I have his notebooks that he wrote and they were interpreted. Okay. Sure, you look like the Mona Lisa. Oh, I think I look a little bit better than her, but thank you, Sprinkle Sprinkle. God drew in my eyebrows. People got the paint on her brows. I know they shaved them off back in those days. I'm just joking. That was the style back then. Shaving brow. Um, Sprinkle, sprinkle. Shit, it's all about the vibe. Yeah. Okay, so think of one more story, and then I'm gonna get it go. Something weird. Okay. A lot of weird stuff, but it's nothing I can really explain that will make sense to y'all. But the best thing I can say is um it's kind of funny. So you know how like if you are highly confident within yourself and you know the type of person you are and you're like I'm all that and I'm going to be the type of woman that always is the one that got away. Everybody that has ever dealt with me will never forget me. So, when you think of yourself on that level and literally things start to happen so that is very possible, it's hilarious, especially when what you said manifested literally super fast. Like, if you've watched this channel before, maybe like a couple of years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I used to say that all the time. And so, you know, what you want is that type of energy. You say you live by that credo? Like, so whoever you interact with, whoever meets you, and you hold some type of significant place, either temporarily or long term in that person's life, they ain't ever gonna forget you. So be present and be someone that's unforgettable. There you go. SheRa, I've been subscribed for 3 years. Thank you so much, Sprinkle Sprinkle. Okay. You said unforgettable. You're starting to realize it. I just got here. Okay. SheRa, what is the spiritual meaning of people being left-handed? They didn't learn how to write with their right hand. Left hand is more of the feminine. And also, like, a lot of people thought that people were evil or witches because they were left-handed. But you can train people to write with whatever hand that they're trained to write with. If you just let people gravitate to whatever hand that they want to gravitate to, it's, you know, it is what it is. But it's literally, you know, that. Left hand is good. I think it's the more creative and feminine aspect. Okay. You said, why would anyone forget a goddess? That's so sweet. Mm-mm. Well, some people can write with both hands. They practice. Anyway, oh, I forgot to tell y'all. So if y'all been here since the beginning of the video, thank you for making it this far. I did a little Etsy mini haul from some of the shops that I purchased on. And I forgot to show one thing that also came with my little oils that I ordered from the little book eater. I bought some like fragrance oils from them. And so on Etsy, the little book eater. And I got one that's called Marie Laveau. And these oils are based on like characters, books, genres of books, all sorts of things, folklore, you know, historical figures and all that kind of stuff. So I got a sample pack of 3 oils, and then they come in these little samples that you can pick which scent you want. So I got one called the Occult Shop. It smells like a witch. It smells like incense. It's like what it would smell like to walk into a little witchy occult shop. That's what that smells like. Then there's one called New Orleans Vampire. This smells really good. It smells like something sweet, spicy, like smoke, night air, you know, something like that. A little bit of brandy in the air. It's just like really nice, old, you know, New Orleans type smell. And then there's one called Southern Gothic. It smells kind of like fresh and floral, like you're in a garden and, you know, in a dark Southern Gothic novel or something. And so they're called the Little Book Eater. And they sent me this little library card thing also with my oils. And I thought it was so cute. It's like a little card, and you can write the name of the books that you're reading. And you can use it as a bookmark or It comes, and then she sent like this little library envelope, and you can peel this off and stick it in a book and put your little library card in it. So I thought that was cute that it came with those oils. And of course, the little receipt from buying it. And then she wrote, "Thank you so much. I hope you love the scents. All the best. And be well." Thank you. A little book here on Etsy. So I almost threw the envelope away because I thought it was just, the receipt. But I'm glad I looked in there and found it. So if you buy enough of her oils, you can collect these and start putting them in your books and start your own little library. I think that's cool because I do plan to have a library. I already have so many books, but I do plan to have a whole room that's literally a library. So, yeah. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Hit the like button, y'all. Thank y'all. And I do like supporting small Etsy businesses and things like that. So I try to order something every couple of weeks from Etsy and shout out those, shop owners and things like that on the channel. I've been enjoying shopping Etsy for so long. I have an Etsy store myself where I sell my elixirs, called Dark Realm. And I like getting unique things that you can't find like on Amazon or everywhere. I mean, I love Amazon. I like finding unique pieces that people put their energy into and their unique spin on, like these cute little wax sealed candles. And these are from Anita Apothecary. She's linked in the description bar below too. All the little Etsy stores that I mentioned are linked down there. Also, I got these like lotion pour candles where this is in vanilla bean and I have one in lavender. You just light the candle and it starts melting into like a lotiony oil and you can just pour it on. It's like a massage wax and it's not very hot. It's just warm. I think it's made with shea butter and oil and a little bit of soy or coconut, depending on what they're using. And I love just going shopping on Etsy for like hours and just finding cool stuff to put in my cart and check out. And I love how a lot of these packages are created, like the packaging on some of these and the little extras, like the little book envelope and the little cute like oils and stuff like that. It's just unique stuff that you can't find anywhere else. So y'all go shop small business and support. Sprinkle, sprinkle. I've heard so much great reads from the books you've recommended over the years. Thank you, sprinkle, sprinkle. If you click on the description of my elixirs on the Etsy store, it should kind of tell you all you need to know. And for all of them, just do 10 droplets in the morning and 10 droplets at night. So that's literally one whole dropper, half of a dropper in the morning, not at night, half of a dropper in the morning, half in the afternoon, because it gives you energy. So if you take it at night, you might be up. So half of a dropper in the morning, half of a dropper in the afternoon. Thank y'all. Have a good evening. I'm getting ready to wrap this up. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Tomorrow is Friday. If y'all have any more questions about anything or any of the stories I told, I'll stay around for like 2 more minutes if y'all want to ask. Best to ask now. It's a full moon tomorrow? You said you Googled the facts I said and I was right every time? Well, that's good to know. What to do in full moons? Stay in the house. That's when most of the crimes start happening. Uh, stay in the house, ma'am. That's what you do. That's when we used to get most of the bodies, ma'am. Okay. Have a good night. Thank you, Kayla. Spark, spark. Or Kia. Kia. Sparkle, sparkle. Y'all have a good full moon. I'll see y'all later. Thank y'all so much. Bye. Oh, and thank y'all everybody who donated. I really appreciate you guys. Y'all are so sweet. Thank you for everyone who wanted to send me, something from their little Etsy store. Definitely go to my Etsy store and write me in the messenger if you have a little Etsy store. My link is in the description bar below. Dark Realm on Etsy. Also, all the stores that I mentioned on Etsy that I showed you items on are all going to be in the description bar. You said watching Bridgerton, thinking of me. Oh, thank you, girl. Sprinkle, sprinkle. I appreciate that. Yes, Bridgerton was quite interesting this season. I will see y'all on the next one. Bye.